If you're looking at a new lens in 2024, it doesn't really matter what lens you buy, they'll all give you sharp, perfect photos. Now today we're looking at a lens made in 1936, and the question is, how good were the optics almost 90 years ago? The lens we're looking at is a Zeiss Vienna Sonnar 85mm f2 made for Contax RF mount. Stay with me and I'll also compare it to the rare Biotar 85mm f2. This is converted to Leica, and I'll go through various photo shoots and a few different conditions to see how well these 1930s lenses perform compared to the photos that you're used to seeing on this channel. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. So yesterday we're looking at the Zeiss Vienna Sonnar 85 f2. The big thanks to Skyllaney for sending me this lens to play with to show you what I can do with this lens for my model shoots. This lens is Contax RF mount, so it would originally be used on a Contax, say Contax 2 camera or a Kiev 4 camera. And this is a Contax RF lens, meaning it's a rangefinder coupled lens on these cameras. Here you can see it on a Contax 2. You'll see more about that as we get into the video. And a Kiev 4 is basically a clone of the Contax 2. Now to mount a Contax lens to a Leica camera, you need a Contax to Leica adapter. As seen here, made by Amadeo Adapters. They're the best that I know of. I then can use it on my Leica SL camera via L to M adapter. Yesterday I was teaching in London. A guy flew in from San Francisco. And so we had two models, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And I had various lenses with me, including the Sonnar 85 f2, as you can see here. Now I found it really nice for portraits, especially for like the half body shots, because it gives a really flattering look, shot wide open. It's not overly sharp, and indoor I didn't really have any problems with flare, and you still get that kind of nice bokeh at the edges. You'll see more of that in the next section. So that was one model, and that was an indoor shoot. We booked an apartment for an indoor shoot, and then this is the other half of the day, and this was outdoor. So we picked this particular location so you can see the bokeh in the background, even with the iPhone. And if we look through the camera in a second, I tried to line up the shot so you can see that the rendering from this lens. So this gives a really nice kind of sonar bokeh. You'll see it more as I kind of come around on an angle. 85mm is really nice for full body shots because you don't get the distortion. And there you can see now the really nice bokeh and rendering in the background, and also a little bit of flare from the surrounding lights. If you're new here and want to learn more about model photography, I'll put a link to my free ebook below, and the full ebook is coming soon. Now when I flew to Europe last week for that road trip, I also had the Sonnar with me to do some testing. Here you can see me kind of live doing one of the model shoots. This was in the Czech Republic. I was with Toby. Toby had set up the reflector for his stuff. You can see me shooting into the light, and as you'll see in a second, that's pretty tough with a lens that flares a lot, made in the 1930s without a lens hood. If you're wondering what bag I'm using, it's a new bag from Wotancraft. I can also put a link to that below. It's like a small lightweight version of a pilot bag. Here you can see the flare with hand and without hand, and here you can see the flare again. That kind of escaped under my hand as I was shooting at the light. I normally shoot into the light with my portraits, so for this lens I needed to try to find a workaround so not to get too much flare. I wanted to use the tree in the background to give me the bokeh to see what this lens can do. And yeah, it's all available light only. The reflector wasn't really being used for those photos. Second location, me hiding under a tree to try to get less blinded by the light and for less flare. You can see me direct to the model, and again hiding behind the tree. Check out my nice cap. And then what I'm trying to do now is use the fence that's backlit to see how the bokeh looks when the light hits the fence. It was quite low sun by that point, so it was quite good for bokeh testing. There you can see the rendering, and I think it's very pretty, especially for portraits. I was using a Light Lens Lab close focus adapter. Again, I can put a link below, which allowed me to get close than 1 meter distance. Now, while I was in Prague, I also accidentally bought a Contax 2 camera. And as I had the adapter with the lens, it then meant I could take the Sonnar 50mm lens off the Contax and now fit it to my Leica M262. So I'll maybe do a video at some point on the Sonnar 50 f2, also 1930s, and show you how that compares to other common 50mm lenses. After Prague, it's back on the road with Toby. Thanks Toby for driving and the behind the scenes videos. And the next stop was Vienna. So Toby had organised like a collaborative, creative shoot, if you want to call it that, with models, makeup artists and things in a park in Vienna. And so you can see me now again with a Sonnar trying to direct the model. Again, it was midday, really bright sun. It was really warm, so we'll try not to melt while taking the photos. And what I found was, after learning from what worked and what didn't work in the Czech Republic, you can see me trying to direct them. I tried to hide in the shadow. You see me back up in a second. So I'm trying to keep the lens out of the sun here. See, you can see there. Yet I have the model in the sun, so she's backlit, so she's got the nice hair, rim light, and then I'm shooting towards the trees to get the bokeh swirl in the background. All the photos you see are wide open in this video. Now, the 1930s Biotar. This is Toby's lens, as you can see in his beautiful black M9P. And so we wanted to compare the 1930s Biotar, originally designed for an exacta camera, converted to Leica M mount, and it's fully rangefinder coupled for his M9P. Toby is getting quite good at doing the lenses himself, but I think that one was converted to M mount in Ukraine. Okay, so let's see how these two lenses compare. So first, the Sonnar. So she's the lens wide open. There's the Sonnar bokeh. It's a bit cat-eye at the edges, round in the center, and it will flare. Next, the Biotar. The Biotar, I think, has maybe slightly nicer swirl, and f2.8, the bokeh gets a bit rounder. This lens will also flare, but that's why he did a built-in hood. He made his own DIY hood, as you can see here. It's a nice black paint Biotar. You can find black paint Sonnars, the very early ones from 1933, but I think all the Sonnars after 1936 were silver, originally in the heavy chrome, which is the one I've got, and then later some were made in aluminium. You can get really beautiful rendering if you, as I say, use the close focus Light Lens Lab L to M adapter, as you can see on the camera at the moment. Get that a little bit closer and it gives stunning headshots if you shoot into the sun, and yeah, get some nice bokeh in the background. See me again directing. These guys were not like models as such, they were just willing participants, and so I was trying to guide them through what the visions in my head to try to get the photos that we wanted to get. Again, I'm shooting the lens wide open. You can see from my squinting it was really bright, so it worked to have the models in the sunglasses, because then I could pose them into the light sometimes. The light that's on her face at the moment, I was using a white wall to bounce the light onto the faces, so normally it means I can travel with no reflector and still use backlit available light only. I think the Biotar was equally nice as the Sonnar. They're both 1930s, but the Biotar is much, much rarer and much, much more expensive. You can find the Sonnars on eBay for, well, if you get the Jupiter, as we're going to see here, the Jupiter copies are much cheaper. Talking of Jupiter lenses, if you're new to vintage lenses, the Jupiter 9 is a Soviet copy of the Zeiss Sonnar. So both of them are 8-5 f2. Both of them are pretty much the same size. I own 2 copies of the Jupiter, so you can see it next to the loaned Sonnar lens. The Jupiter copy I've got is an aluminium barrel, so it's much lighter compared to the heavy chrome Sonnar version that was loaned. I have done full reviews and photo shoots with the Jupiter lenses before. They are amazing for female portraits. I'll put a link to that at the end. Now, for you Leica shooters, if you want something equivalent, you might look at the Leica Summicron 90mm f2 pre-spherical, as seen here. I own this lens and it's amazing for portraits, perhaps the best Leica lens I've used for portraits, and I've tested quite a lot, even better than the Fast 50s, but it is quite a big lens. If you want a smaller 90mm, check out the spherical versus the pre-spherical, and it is quite a bit smaller. I have done lots of videos on the 90mm Summicron lenses and options, so I can link them at the end. I recorded quite a bit of behind the scenes for the Patreon guys, so if you're new here and you want to get more content, link below to Patreon. As always, a huge thanks to my amazing patrons, and see you in the next video.